Hello?
Yeah, let me just check something. Yes, I just had to. Oh, it's very delayed. I had to replug my headphones.
No worries. Yeah. All right. So, do you just go by Tronimal?
Yeah, Jörg or Tronimal. It's fine. Or Yogi if that's easier.
Did you say York?
Jörg, yes.
York. Okay.
It's a bit hard for like English speakers, I know.
Can you type that out in the Discord? I just want to make sure
Yeah.
I'm saying it right.
Yes, but there's a letter you might not have.
Okay. Yeah. No, so if I say Yorg, like that's am I saying it right?
Yeah, that's okay. It's totally
Okay.
fine.
Yeah. Sorry if I'm not saying it exactly correct, but
Yeah,
would it be easier?
this is kind of hard for most of the people to say.
Okay, so it's Jörg.
Yeah, very
Okay.
close.
Okay, that's me trying to pronounce it sort of Hungarian way, but that's as
Yeah,
close as I can get for European languages.
that's why I always say like people can call me Yogi. That's easier.
Okay. Um, or what do you think? We just stick with Tronimal?
That's fine as well. I used this
Okay.
name for a lot of years.
Oh, Pyro 24. It's like an sound. Okay. Okay.
Let me.
I think. Oh. Anyway, I'm sorry that I can't get the pronunciation right, but anyway,
That's
thank you.
fine. I'm totally used to this.
Well, you should see my last name. Like I just put it in the Twitch chat there, but that is my legal name. So I just go by Gabriel, but pretty much no one can pronounce my last name. Uh,
Anjichki.
yeah, I mean, we always pronounced it as Broniecki. That's I think
It's
the
yeah.
Hungarian pronunciation of it at least. But um, anyway, so we've got the game Snooze here. Tronimal,
Yes.
thank you so much for joining me, and I'm gonna give this a try. I will go ahead and get the interview questions going.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about your background and your role on this project?
Yes, of course. I did this as a solo dev, but I have a background in Game Boy music. So I was doing music for a very long time and started Game Boy Music in 2008. And yeah, last year I think I got a little bit more involved into actual game making. I had some projects before, but nothing like a real game, more like cartridge music releases and stuff like that. So yeah, I was kind of knowing what I'm doing already before I started going into game dev. But then I helped on a few projects and I thought about like starting my own game and I wanted to make a platformer and I discontinued after like working on it for 1 or 2 days and then I went to a totally different game which is called Food Delivery GB. It's not finished yet. Um, So this is my main project at the moment, and in between, I needed a little bit of a break. I was doing music for another Game Boy game, and also I wanted to, yeah, join a game jam. So this is my first game jam that I worked at, Brecky's Game Jam, as
Mhm.
a game dev. So I did music for game jams, but not games. So this was my first try, and I thought like, okay, let's try a platformer now to learn stuff about making platformers. I
Nice.
see you're struggling with the first jump. It's kind of a mid-hard jump, but you might figure out that you can run. I don't know if you already
I
tried.
am holding down the run button. It's
Okay.
just the physics of the jump are well, okay. You have to jump like really close to the edge of the platformer, huh?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
There
And
we
you
go.
have to run a little bit from, so you need a few, make a few steps before you really have full speed.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's easier with a controller or an actual device.
Oh, I mean, I do
Uh,
have a controller if it works with that.
yeah, it works with the HTML version. Yes.
Okay, let's give that a try. So I guess I just didn't notice. Um, yeah, it doesn't mention a controller here on the itch.io page.
It might in. I think, yeah, maybe I just wrote it in my Twitter or something. I wrote it somewhere. I can't remember where.
Okay.
Actually, there was stuff that I didn't know before. Actually, if this really works. So yeah, I
Oh
was
my gosh.
kind of late, and you know how it is if you make a game in 7 days. Oh,
Yeah.
you have to like hurry. So as you don't have the music playing, there's actually an alarm sound going off um,
Oh, I do. It's
while
just pretty
while this.
quiet.
Okay, while this happening.
Um,
Um, yes, actually, I played a little bit of your game yesterday,
oh yeah.
and I heard the music, and I looked into it, and I saw that it's also gamer music, which you were using in your platformer.
Yeah, the music is by Mark Sparling.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Made in LSTJ software. I used this software
yes,
very
yes,
long.
that's right. Right. Sorry, I think I misunderstood what you meant at first, but like yeah, it is it's a I love like all of Mark's music, but there's something about LSDJ that is just that like the limited channels and the sounds that it can produce. Like it's some of my favorite stuff is what Mark has made in combination with like LSDJ, but then also like LSDJ plus other instruments that he's layered on top.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I see.
But yeah, so LSDJ is a tool that you use as well.
Yeah, I made like I think 7 albums with it, 7 LPs,
Nice,
and most of them are available on tape or CD. And I also made some Game Boy cartridge releases in the past.
nice. So, do I have to refresh the page to be able to give the game another try, or will I
You
get?
can you if you wait for, let's say, yeah, if you see the special thanks screen and you
Yeah.
press start, it should restart
Okay,
the
there we go.
game. Um, I think it's enter. Yes. Hopefully this is the fixed version uploaded because it had some issues before where it didn't clear the variables. So basically all the progress you made before was stored and the counter uh, wasn't working any longer.
Hmm.
I saw that one day before, 1 hour after submitting the game initially, and I just played through it one more time for fun, and I thought this big mistake, and luckily
Yeah.
I was able to update it.
No, I'm glad that you were able to get that in before the ending time of the jam. I know it's
Yeah,
sometimes kind of a mad dash to get things finished in time for like so often that you end up submitting something and then it's past the end of the jam that it's you don't have the opportunity to go back in and fix it because it's already over. So,
yeah, I went for a really straight schedule, so I didn't really have problems with that stuff because I tried to, from the beginning on, make a project that is really like has only one mechanic and is really simple so that I don't struggle too much
mhm.
to make it in 7 days. I think this is something that you always should consider if you have a very limited amount of time
Yeah, no,
to
it's a
go for one mechanic only or one base game mechanic only or whatever you want to call it.
mhm. Yeah, for sure. So I guess how did you find the experience of developing something like this that was meant to be compatible with Game Boy?
Yeah, it's coming actually really from my musical background because
Hmm.
I was doing a lot of stuff with old synthesizers until I found out that you can make music with Game Boy,
Hmm.
and it's kind of a nostalgic child thing, memory thing for me as well. So I grew up with this machine,
Hmm.
and yeah, of course you are kind of happy then if you can use this for your own dev stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what tool did you actually use to like develop the game?
So this is made in GB Studio. This is like a little bit of like a sandbox engine, if you want to call it that way,
Mhm.
to make it kind of easy and quick. So there are a lot of stuff is already built in, like you have physics built in for a platformer, for example. If you want to make
Mhm.
a platformer, you can select that, and you have physics. You have to like um, uh, get in the numbers for certain fields like gravity or gravity while jump and stuff like that, but you don't have to write everything down in code. I made stuff before in assembler and in C for the Game Boy, so
Yeah.
I think that wouldn't be possible in 7 days for me at least to make kind of a real game. And so I used this software and that makes it kind of easy, but it has its own limitations on top of the Game Boy limitations.
Hmm.
For example, music playback is really broken in this engine at the moment. Luckily, I went such a simple route with music that I didn't discover it. But for the other game I was working on, which was released, I think, 2 days ago, um, we really had some big issues with music because one channel had broken playback.
Mm.
And that's in the engine. That was not our fault. So we had to fix the engine, compile it from source, and make some changes and stuff like that. But yeah, GB Studio is really easy, beginner friendly, and easy to get in. And if you already know about the limitations of the Game Boy itself, then it's really doable by everybody, I would say, like who has a little bit of patience to make a game because you need that.
Nice. Wow. I finally successfully completed the first level,
Yes,
and I'm
there was
realizing that,
one really hard jump in there.
yeah.
Yeah, and this level, I can spoiler, it's the second level is the last level.
Oh, okay.
In this level there are two hard jumps,
Gotcha.
but the route is a little bit easier in my opinion because the world is a little bit more open
Well,
because I tried something different.
yeah. I'll do my best to get through what's left here, but I guess in the meantime, do you have a useful shortcut or a clever hack, either in your experience with GB Studio or in your experience just like making music, making these kind of chiptune songs that you'd like to share?
Um, yeah, with GB Studio, I don't know what I can tell, like because it's easy from the beginning. So if you look into it, then you shouldn't have any huge problems.
Hmm.
Music is it's a complicated thing because I did workshops on that topic, and these workshops went like 5 or 6 hours. So it's a bit hard to give a quick advice, but
Well, okay, then don't worry about giving quick advice, but are those workshops available somewhere?
I don't do this at the moment as a real workshop, but
Okay.
I stream on Twitch at the moment quite frequently. Not with a set schedule, but I did like in the last 2.5 weeks, I did like I think 10 days of streaming, and
Nice.
I always yeah explain this kind of stuff. So I made I think 3 hours of music stream, so I explained how it works, and I do this kind of on Twitch. And if there's a special topic that people want to know about, it's not a problem for me to make a stream that goes a few hours, and I will go really into questions and not only like showing what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm kind of used to explaining that stuff in workshops as a real person, but also on Twitch. That's an easy task. And I
Yeah.
also streamed 7 days in a row when I made this game that you're just seeing.
Nice.
So I streamed the whole process. It was I think it was 48 hours in total.
Wow.
I'm currently cutting a short video that has like 20 minutes playtime, just to explain my schedule and my workflow a little bit.
Awesome. And is that going to be, do you have a YouTube channel where you're going to post that?
Yes, but it's really that is kind of mostly abandoned most of the time. So I'm not really doing a lot of stuff on YouTube. I'm mostly using Twitter and Bandcamp and a little bit of Twitch.
All right, sounds good. Well, please feel free to share any social media platforms that you like in the chat there. If anyone has any questions in chat, now's the time to ask them.
In Discord or
Oh, you can post it directly in the Twitch chat.
okay. So yeah, of course I have an itch page, but my name is Tronimal everywhere. So wherever you want to find me, it's Tronimal. And I think the most where I put the most stuff was actually tronimalbandcamp.com and on itch, which you already like shared.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to see my Twitter page, it's at Tronimal Music. And yeah, you can find me kind of everywhere under that handle. So the two other games you can see on my page are actually music releases. So that is not games, but it's also made as a Game Boy file.
Nice. All right. Well, um, do you have any other projects that you want to mention? Or anything else coming soon that you want to direct
Yeah,
people's attention to?
yeah, there is something that is really, really, really. I'm impressed myself. I worked on this. Let me just quickly check the link. Um, I made the music for something, and I'm so impressed how it came out, like graphics wise, which wasn't my what's it called in English? Oh, my English sucks, kind of. Um, yeah, I didn't do that. Let's just call it like this. So um, the project I was talking about earlier, where we had these issues with the music that were fixed, luckily,
Mm-hmm.
is a game called In the Dark. I just posted it in the chat. It's also a Game Boy game, and the demo is available for now. The first 10 levels you can play, and the cutscene is insane for Game Boy tech, really. And yeah, it will come out as a real cartridge, as you can see on the page.
Yeah, holy heck. This is Game Boy Color though. Like,
Yeah, it runs. It's like a black cartridge back in the day, so it will run on the classic Game Boy as well as on the Game Boy Color, Game Boy
right,
Advance.
yeah. Because I remember that like the Game Boy Color is just a like visual upgrade. It's not actually a hardware revision. Like it will still run Game Boy Color.
The CPU is double as fast,
Okay, okay.
twice as fast, so it can handle a little bit more stuff, uh, especially when it comes to like stuff like sprite flickering and things like that.
Okay.
But it didn't change much. It has awful sound compared to the original one, which why I don't
So
really, I'm
funny.
not into GBC that much because the display is like not shielded very well.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
and yeah,
that's super cool. I'll have to look into this, and maybe we can even get the devs of In the Dark on for an interview sometime.
yeah, I bet at least uh, the person that made the graphics, so this is a two-person project, would be into this.
Sounds
I
good.
don't know if the main programmer would be.
Sure. Well,
Um,
I'll have to
yeah,
get in touch with them. But yeah, thanks for bringing this to my attention. That looks really cool. And thank you also for sharing Snooze.
yeah, you're welcome. I can send you my main game when it's in beta.
That
It
sounds
will be
great.
in closed beta kind of soon.
All right.
And if you can't find the graphic author of the other uh, game, then just send me a message and I will make the contact for
Okay.
you.
Yeah, that would definitely help out. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, and thanks for talking about the game. And yeah, just I guess if I want to give a little bit of feedback on the game before we part ways,
Yeah,
um, I did notice that the like like I don't know. It seems like A is B and B is
yeah. It's oh, I can't hear you any longer. Wait.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, now I hear you
Okay.
again. Um, yeah, B should be on the left side.
Yeah, because any time that I'm pressing like A to advance, I'm actually pressing the B button on my Xbox controller.
Oh, on your controller. Okay, I don't
Yeah.
know how this was mapped. Yeah. Uh, so yeah, B should be further inwards to your D-pad
Right.
on the original console. If that was swapped, that was not my intention. Yeah.
And then similarly, like, is there a reason that you couldn't make oh, okay. Could you make the space key jump instead of like Alt?
Yes, every key on the keyboard.
Okay.
Not a
Okay.
problem.
Just
That's an
because
easy
Alt is
fix.
kind of hard to press when you're using WASD. Like I usually
Yeah,
think
it
of
wasn't.
WASD space.
So yeah, I usually go with the arrow keys, so that's why I made it the way it is.
Right.
And I thought like if somebody's using WASD, he can go with JK for jumping and running. That
Oh,
was
I
my
see.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can use both hands because you don't need the mouse or something for playing.
No, that's
But
true.
of course, it's designed for the original console. So to play it
Hmm.
with a flash card or something like that, there are these cartridges that you can put your games on
Hmm.
that you can like reflash over and over again. So that's kind of the idea.
Right. And I guess the only other thing about the actual physics of the game is it seems like you kind of want to be running all the time.
Yes, almost. Yes.
Is there a
Yeah.
situation where that's not the case?
You don't need to. You can, yeah. But it's like this is like it's really influenced by the old Game Boy classic games where you have to do
Hmm.
that as well all the time. So that was like a nothing that I put thought in. What I really wanted to do, but I didn't have enough time, was change the gravity while jump, so you can just
Hmm.
jump a little bit wider and not higher, and make
Right.
this available as an easy mode. Because a lot of people thought this was too easy, how it is at the moment, which I don't agree with. But also a lot of people thought this was too hard, especially for a game jam game where you play so many games and you don't have the time to play a game very long. And that's why I wanted to implement an easy mode, but I couldn't make it in time. That was not possible for me.
Right. Yeah, I do find the gravity on the jump to be pretty extreme. And then the only reason I was asking about the run is like, yes, I know that a lot of like games as sort of a convention, like Mario, you're sort of like constantly holding down the run button. But
Yes.
I think that the the fact that Mario has a run button is more as a like a player expression sort of thing. Like if you want to feel like you can accelerate through the game faster, it's not strictly necessary to use the run, or maybe sometimes it is. But
It becomes in later levels. So it's not
right,
for the first world, let's say, in the first
mhm,
Mario, but then it becomes necessary later on.
right,
So I don't have that here, of course, because it has only two levels, and I couldn't. I didn't know in the beginning if I can make a second level at all. So I try to get this all in the first level, of course.
mhm,
Um, yeah, that's kind of thing. Um, yeah, I got a lot of feedback actually, and there were some really good suggestions. Some stuff that I thought about while making, but I couldn't make it in time. And
right,
yeah, the most questions thing was like, yeah, make it easier. And people didn't check that there was actually a running button.
mm,
So, which really surprised me because like all the jump run games that I know from the past have this. But yeah, if there are players that didn't experience games from this era, they of course don't know about this. So maybe these people struggled a bit more. Yeah.
yeah. I think that one of the things that's tricky is that how often you need to be like right on the edge of a platform to make the jump. Like,
Yeah, that's for the jumps that are three tiles wide,
right.
or three tiles wide and one up, of course, and also four tiles wide and two down. This is really the max you can jump. And I
Mhm.
have like three of these in the game. So, and there you really have to jump pixel perfect. Yeah, that's true.
yeah, so that I would probably recommend just making just a little more generous in future. Um, yeah, like
Yeah,
even that jump that I just made there, this is like a pretty straight jump across, but um, was tricky to make it all the way across.
that's why I wanted to go with the easy mode. That just
Hmm.
makes the jump width a little bit wider. So you can like you don't have to do pixel perfect jumps any longer
Hmm.
if you don't want to.
Yeah, and I don't think that it has to be like an easy mode per se. I think that the like if anything you want a hard mode where that's not the case. Like it's just a difference in how the game the phrasing is done. Like you want people to know that um they're getting the intended
They-
experience and it's
You,
not
you
like too
say
punishing.
don't call it any mode and then but make an hard mode
No,
additionally.
sorry. I mean, like calling something an easy mode is more condescending than calling something a hard mode. So that's why I say like avoid calling something easy mode specifically. If you're going to have a hard mode, that's fine. But in general, I don't think that has anything to do with the whether or not there should be an easy or a hard mode in the game. I think you can just have um, the possibility of completing the game faster if you're able to make more difficult jumps as a more experienced platformer. It's something that.
Yeah, that would be a problem with the basic game concept that I had in mind
Oh, okay.
because I wanted to make a lot of platforms not reachable without these portals that you can walk into.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And if I allowed shortcuts by pixel perfect jumps, then the whole portals become kind of unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
But if I would do this only at spots where you actually have to really jump pixel perfect, that might be an option, like what you just mentioned, which I didn't think
Yeah.
about before. So only make like pixel perfect jumps to avoid portals. I write
Yeah,
that down
potentially.
because I have a lot of stuff written down from the feedback, and as I don't have your feedback written in the comments, I will write that down quickly.
Sure.
Um,
Just because like I don't know how necessary the portals are, like if they're meant to be like a timing thing. Like I know sometimes the portals take you somewhere further away in the level that you reasonably cannot make it that way, but um
yes, of
I
course
think
it
it would
has to do
be.
something with the timer
Yeah.
setting. Yes, yes,
And this is very much getting into the way that I happen to like designing platformers. But I think there was a game that I made a while ago on Steam where there were elevators you could take that were very slow and they would get you from one place to another. And timing was an important factor in that game. So there was always an alternate path that involved avoiding the elevators. It was just much harder to do. So it really depends on what kind of style you're going for in particular. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm giving very biased advice here, saying that, like, oh, try to design the level so that it's possible to avoid the teleporters by just like executing really fancy jumps. Just
yes.
because that's kind of the way that I would make it.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. I'm not sure if I will like update this game any further because it
No,
was
that's fine.
like planned on as a jam. But um, I made this to learn for my future platformer projects. So all these input, if I don't upgrade this game, I will have all these informations for my next game. So that's still a good thing to have.
All right, sounds good. Well, I think we're going to wrap things up there for now, but thanks again for taking the time to show off the game and have this conversation.
Sure. Thanks for yeah playing this today. I really didn't think that you will just play this right now. So
Yeah, well, we're about 40 minutes past when I usually end the stream, but I had a bit of extra time today, so yeah.
cool.
Thanks again,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Thank you.
hopefully we'll get to see another version of that project down the line. Your
Yeah.
next
Otherwise,
game.
you will see my food delivery game, which is a totally different style, but still a
Sure.
gamer game. Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Cool.
All right, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye for now.
Yeah. You too. Thanks.